Hello and welcome. I got a 6.6 transmission 4x4 out of a Ford Bronco. It's an 80s model, like 84, 85, something like that. I'm going to go ahead and, I think it's an 88. We're going to go ahead and do a teardown inspection on this and see what we can find. Let's get to it. First thing I'm going to take off, I'm going to remove the 4x4 adapter, extension adapter. Now that I have the extension adapter, the 4x4 extension housing adapter removed, now I'm going to remove the governor. This is the governor itself. It uses inertia when it's rotating. When these valves stick, both of these valves stick, it'll take off the second gear, or you will just have first gear, it won't shift. I'm going to remove these 4 bolts from the rear support. Kickdown linkage or passing gear lever assembly. The neutral safety switch. This switch will allow only to start your vehicle in park and neutral and not in any other gear. Now this is the second gear band servo assembly. It's made out of molded rubber, and this rubber is rock hard. This servo is no good. Whenever you order one, it has an ID letter in the back of the cover. This is the letter S. When you order one, make sure you give your part supplier the code for the second band servo. Now I'm going to remove the bolts from the front pump. I'm going to flip it over. Now we're going to remove the pan. Okay, so here we have our pan. It has a lot of friction material. It's black. I know I got some black gloves, but has a lot of material. Let me get a little towel here. And you can see that. That's a lot. So this transmission has burnt clutches in it. Let's go ahead and take the valve body off, and then after that we'll go ahead and take the internals from the barrel of the case. Once again, we use a 3/8 socket. This is our valve body, and as you can see the filter here, he has an extended neck, and basically most 4x4s will have a deep pan. You can see here, this is not a flat pan, it's a deep pan. Okay, now we're going to remove the band adjuster. Has a nut. This is the strut. These are the band anchors. This is the second gear band. Now we can take the whole assembly out of the barrel of the case. This is our front pump assembly. I'm going to go ahead and disassemble it. We'll remove these 5 half-inch bolts. Okay, so this is the stator assembly. We always want to check where the pump gears ride for wear. Also, this is the, you see 2 sealing rings here for direct and reverse. And the forward drum sealing rings, they're in here. You just make sure that where the sealing rings ride, you have no grooves in it. If you do have grooves, then this stator support is no good. As you can see that it's nice, it's real nice and smooth here where the pump gears ride, and there are no grooves. Set that aside. We remove the pump gears. These are the 2 pump gears. I removed them just like this, and if you notice, it has a ID dot on it, which means that that faces up towards you when you disassemble it. And where the torque converter goes in, it's flat against the stator. This goes against the stator support, and the flat goes against the stator support. And on the opposite end of the inner gear, you can see that it's bevel here. This is where the torque converter slides in and engages. And like you see, these pump gears are nice and smooth. They're not scratched, scored, or damaged. This is our front pump assembly. You can see a crescent here. You always check it, make sure that it's not wore on the wall where the gears ride, and on the starting of the crescent. Sometimes you see a lot of wear here, but as you can see, the gear they're in perfect condition, and this is in perfect condition as well. Set that to the side. This is our pump washer. And these washers are selectable. This is a number 2 pump washer, and you can get different thicknesses of washers to adjust your end play. Input shaft. This is the third and reverse clutch drum assembly. This is where those rings seal here. It's nice and smooth. They're shiny where they work, which that is normal. You don't want to see no grooves here. And when you go back, reassembling this unit or rebuilding it, make sure you replace all of your bushings and make sure that everything is nice, center, and true. I'm going to go ahead and remove the clutch pack assembly. We have 4 frictions and 4 steel plates and the pressure plate. These seem to be in good shape. This is the color of it. This is like a grayish, brownish color. This is considered normal for this older type of units. On the newer type of units, they're red, and if you see them change color like this, they probably burnt. Washer, just make sure that it's still good, that you have your tabs on it still. Forward clutch is burnt up. Forward ring gear is stuck in the clutches. As you can see, these are welded together. That's how hot it got. The friction, it's a friction plate or a clutch. This is what used to be a friction plate. Next, you can see the steel plate, friction, steel, and friction. Here you can see that the frictions are actually what's burned, carbonized, actually flaking off. See that there? The ring gear hub assembly is still good. This washer's still good. You just got to beat these out of the way, get some new frictions and some new steel plates. Bearing. Now on this forward clutch drum, remember I mentioned about the where the sealing rings seal. That's where it goes. These are the 2 sealing rings. They look pretty worn out. They should be black in color. They're kind of a chrome. Second gear band is burnt. You can see that in the center. It's burnt up, and when you flex it like this, you can see all the cracks. It's just old. The tire is burnt up. Forward planet assembly. Whenever you check these, always make sure that you don't have a lot of end plate side to side, and wiggle them back and forth. If you have a movement when you wiggle them, then the pinion is not straight. The pinion is worn out. So you want to make sure that you check them side to side. And if you have the specifications for it, you can use a feeler gauge. But in this case, I mean, you can see the washers. I mean, they look perfectly good. Has no play in it. There's another bearing in here. This is the forward planetary gear assembly. This goes here. Those are the burnt clutches. Sun gear shell, perfect condition. Has 2 bushings, make sure that you replace those 2 bushings. I'm going to remove the snapper from in here. Got some more washers here. This is the rear planetary gear assembly. Same way. Wiggle them. Look at those washers. Make sure you don't have a lot of end play. If you do, then you need to replace it. There's a snap-ring that holds the rear ring gear assembly. Here it is. You have a bearing. This is the low and reverse clutch assembly. This applies when you engage reverse. This applies with the direct drum to create a reverse reaction. And these clutches are applied when you put it in manual low for engine braking. And if you're towing a trailer, this will give you some help, or actually will help to hold the sprag better so that the sprag won't get damaged. This is the output shaft. You have 3 sealing rings. These sealing rings are for the governor. That's what feeds the oil to both of the valves of the governor. This is the support that supports the weight of the output shaft. And you can see here, you check it the same way. It's shiny, that's considered normal. If you have grooves where the sealing rings ride, then you need to replace it. One more washer. And this is the parking pole assembly for the parking gear. This goes behind here. And when you put it in forward, it locks the output shaft in place. This is the inner raise for our low reverse one-way clutch or low reverse sprag assembly. This is no good. If you can see here, you can see the marks. It's worn out. And usually it'll be worn out not all the way around like this, but like one end only, like on one side will be more worn out than the other side. And that's because of the weight of the gear train against it, and that's because that's the cost of the bushings. When they're worn out, the whole gear train just kind of lowers down and start damaging some parts. That's why it is very important, it's very critical that you replace all of your bushings. Everything you run center, true, and you will have no issues. Now let's take the low reverse piston. This is the low reverse piston assembly. Here we have our governor, or our modulator. Go ahead and take that off. This is our modulator assembly. This is the pin that actually holds the valve, or actually makes pressure against the modulator valve. You have an adjustment on the rear. If you want later shifts, you go in. If you want earlier shifts, you go out. This is almost below flush, so apparently they like early shifts. This is our modulator valve. Modulator has a little hole, goes in here. Pressure goes this way. When you accelerate at idle, the vacuum holds the modulator out. This valve is towards the modulator. Or when you do a kickdown, you have no vacuum. This closes the modulator valve in, and then it will downshift into the, if you're in third gear, it will downshift into second. It depends on what speed you're going. It might downshift all the way to first. But there you have it. Forward clutch is burned up. This transmission is going to take a complete bushing kit, complete overhaul kit, second gear band, all steel plates, new modulator, a new filter, and a correction shift kit. This is 88 model, has a lot of years in the road, so the smartest thing to do is just put a correction shift kit in this unit, in this valve body, and you're going to eliminate a lot of problems and hassles down the road. Thanks for watching, and the next one will be the reassembly of this unit.